welcome to Chess Ninja, where today we will look at keeping control during the game. You got a small advantage, hold on to it, right? Just stay in the game, stay there and get your advantage all the way to the full point. This is what we will talk about today. And this is, I know, a very difficult skill to learn and master. Especially, I remember growing up and I was winning and then I was not winning anymore and then I was winning again and so on. And it kept like a tennis match going back and forth. So try to keep on to the advantage, keep control. So this is an important chess skill. We're going to look at it today with a game I played this Sunday in the Danish Chess League. I played against Uno Skonort, who came out of nowhere and suddenly was doing very well, and then he sort of fell back. He's an active player, and I'm a sort of experienced GM. By the way, we won the match 6-2, and we are close to winning the title, which is nice, especially these days where geopolitical concerns are everywhere. And well, to be honest, from Europe, we don't really understand what's going on, but we seem we have been left alone by someone who favors Russia over us. Very, very difficult to understand and grasp and so on. But well, this should be about chess. So this is me against Skonort, and no more talk about the yellow orc. I played knight f3. I didn't know what he was doing. I saw that he played some accelerated Sicilian, and I believe that to be probably good for white, but it's also murky, and I don't want murky because, to be honest, I'm like 350 rating points more. I just need to have a steady flow of the game where small decisions will sort of add up, and I will win in the long run. I also saw that he plays some sort of active openings against most things and also trying to attack with white. So let's just keep this quiet and simple, and especially I want to make him think about where to put the pieces. This is where sort of it's difficult to shine unless you're very experienced. E6, I was surprised by that. I thought he would play G6. But of course he wants to play a dark squared opening, which is, I don't know if he's going for the Blumenfeld or Madan Ben-Oni, but I will have none of that. I just play E3. It's not the most serious move, but it's not a bad move. And I played the Panov for a long time with white against the Caro-Kann, so I'm ready to play the Panov. And one thing, attacking players or active players, they're not that good in black in the Panov. They would probably rather be white. So that's also a little bit of psychology you have right there. He takes, and d5, and we basically have a Panov Caro-Kann now transposing from d4 to an e4 opening. Well, we could transpose back if you go bishop b4, like something like this, and if I play bishop d3 and take, we will have, and after he cast on b6, we'll have a Karpov Nimzo Indian, which is a completely different opening. He plays bishop e7, I take on d5, and normally you take back with the knight. That's sort of the idea. White got it, but he took back with the pawn. And if he's going to take back with the pawn, then bishop b4 is definitely better square for the bishop, because the bishop is not well placed here. It's passive. It's blocking the open file and so on. But on the other hand, it's also a symmetrical position. And in symmetrical position, if you just play a little bit sort of lazy chess, he will equalize and it will be very drawish. So you have to be careful when you get this kind of position. White has a slight initiative, very slight, but it is there and you have to keep it alive. So first thing is to put the pieces actively, bishop d3, castle. The best move is probably castle, but I didn't want to allow bishop d4, so I just played a3, preventing this bishop from moving. This bishop is my enemy. This needs to be put on a bad square, and it cannot go here where it wants to go, or here where it also wants to go. So it can only go somewhere else. Knight c6, castle or normal rook e8. He still haven't decided what to do with the bishop. I also, oops, sorry, oops, something went really wrong there. Castle, rook e8, rook e1, and we are h6, bishop f4, and bishop e6. So basically we have the same pawn structure, completely symmetrical. The only difference actually is the positions of the bishops. That's not a lot, but it is nevertheless a very clear but slight initiative for white, who's got the bishop on the nice diagonals here, and especially this bishop can go here. If it's, for instance, if you place bishop d6 now, you probably play bishop e5, which is sort of annoying for black. I play rook c1, another move, and he plays bishop f8. So basically he's marking time. He decided that bishop d6, bishop e5 was annoying, but it's not doing much either on f8. a3, it looks, it's also the computer's first choice. It looks a little bit like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it is often a nice move to have. It's covering this square, and sometimes I want to do something like this, and then I would like to follow up with b4, and it's nice that the square is covered. Also, sometimes if you go knight e4, no pawn is hanging on a2. That's probably a little bit academic, but it's nice to have this move in a3, rook c8, and bishop b1. So bishop b1 is basically getting ready to make a battery here on here, but it's also covering this one here, so I can play knight e5 if I want to, because I couldn't play knight e5 before. Here he simply takes, and usually you have a bishop takes h7 check, but here the pawn is gone, so I just lose a pawn. I'll probably have some compensation, but not much. So bishop b1, preparation for queen d3. Something natural like queen b6, you just go knight a4, and it's annoying, and so it's difficult to find a move for him here. And I was expecting a6, and I hadn't decided what to do. If I'm probably just gonna play queen d3 and put it here and make this knight not move. You play knight h5. You can play that, but it doesn't look right. I thought it was sort of weird, but it's, of course, Uno is an active player, so queen f6. He's trying to get pieces to the king side. That's typical for an aggressive player. Knight coming here, hopefully, and take over the initiative and mate the old grandmaster. Unfortunately, the old grandmaster was awake. It was Sunday morning. We are ready to play. Queen d3, it threatens mate in one move here. So he has to go g6. And here comes a little sneaky move, which I kind of like. I was not sure it was the best move, but the computer really likes it. Bishop a2. So he took away the coverage on the d pawn, and I put it back on. Also, what I really like about it is in a lot of positions there will be some sort of X-ray on g6 and f7. For instance, if something like weird like this happens, like we say this, something like this, and queen takes, and knight takes, and bishop takes, and bishop takes, I really like that at this exact moment I am threatening this move. Boom. So this bishop will be very strong. So that's also a reason why I like the bishop on a2. But on the other hand, it's also very difficult for him to cover the pawn. You can't just play rook d1. I can probably just take because of the pin here. So he played rook e d8, getting away from the pin. And now this sort of works in his favor. But I need this covered anyway, so why not just move? Rook cd1. These kind of moves are good, and they're very easy for me. This kind of move is not difficult. Just flowed naturally. His position is making a little bit of a weird impression. Bishop d7. Queen e3 is also a very nice move. This might be in trouble. I might be threatening knight e5, but I'm really threatening d4. And this knight is out of the game. He played d5, it's necessary, but that was sort of, you could always see it looks a little bit, I don't know. It doesn't look right what he's doing here. The computer really liked this move. This move I personally really liked because of the spin. But the computer also liked this move, Bishop E5. Just getting in there and exchange some pieces and hoping he will be very weak on some squares very soon, which is pretty likely. The knight here is sort of out on a weird place. If he takes, you just take back with the pawn, and that would be a nice square for the knight on d4, and his white squares will be weak. So this might even be better. Bishop b1 is probably inaccurate. Knight f4. The computer kind of like him more now than he did before. I'm still better. I'm trying to maximize the activity. Here I could probably take, it would not have been bad, but I kind of like this move, and the computer seems to, knight e7. I should just take now and give him a weak pawn. He's probably gonna just lose it, to be honest. Just take it, queen f3, and just gang up on the poor pawn and win it. Instead, I thought, I have a nice little move here because his white squares will be so weak after this move. So I play knight d4, and also he forces him to give up the bishop. Yes, but unfortunately here, this was not so bad actually. I thought this would be much better for me, but it's apparently not so clear. That I am a little bit better, but it's not much, and clearly not as much as I thought I was. Luckily, he made a mistake here. He played knight c6, even though I thought I had made a pretty good sort of job out of keeping him in unpleasant territory the whole game. Knight c6, and I play a pretty nice move here. Bishop f5, attacking the rook and basically sort of isolating the knight so I can take it and win a pawn with good compensation here, or with no compensation for him. So he decided, he sort of panicked here. White is much better. He has to play rook e8. He can't play rook b8, because then after, when I take back, the rook will be hanging in a lot of lines here. Knight takes d4, knight takes d5, and it's hanging, so I have to go to a8, and then probably I can play something like knight b5, which is also super unpleasant and threatening to go to c7. Anyway, he played rook e8, sort of panic, but also changing the game completely. I'm still trying to keep control, but I'm winning. Well, normally I'm winning 2 pawns here, because I got 2 rooks and a pawn for the queen, which in normal terms is something like 2 pawns. But okay, I got some coordination problems. The knight is a little bit clumsy, the bishop is a little bit clumsy, and the rooks are not really working together. But if they ever do, I will be much better. This move is really in the keeping control area. Just cover the knight, put the bishop on f3 where it is protected and protects a lot of tactical important squares. And I keep the rook on the king here, so he has to move, and bishop f3. I kind of like this approach. Knight a5. I thought it was a really weird move, but I don't know what he should play anyway. Rook e5 and knight a2. And here I decided to keep control more than maybe necessary. The computer really likes knight a5. It's probably just winning. I thought, why let him take away on my poor queenside. But the thing is, I get a very, very serious kingside attack very quickly. So rook f5, rook take knight b2, rook d2, and rook e2, and I'll take the knight with the knight. I'll get a lot for something like this, I think. If I go knight rook f5, take, I can play all kinds of things, but I don't want to allow the knight here, so I just think something like this. And if he takes this one, then knight takes here, and every part of my pieces are coming here. This one is coming here, this knight is coming here, and this guy here is toast. So this was part, I thought, okay, the knight is weird on c4 anyway, so I'm just gonna put my rook back and cover the pawn, keep control, got 2 pawns more. I am much better, but it's maybe a little bit sloppy. Also, I had played rather fast, but here I started to play a little bit slower. Knight b5 c3 is not bad. Bishop b5 d5. The computer really don't like this move. I thought it was rather good, but I hadn't seen anything. So this keeping control is kind of weird. I should probably play rook c2 would have been good, and just playing very safely. I thought I needed to attack his king and win the f-pawn, but it's not really necessary. I can just play rook c2, maneuver the knight around, get this guy away from my queen side and push the d-pawn. That would have been good. So something like rook c2 here is just clearly better for white. Black has no counterplay. You have 2 pawns more, push the pawns, and so on. No problem. Bishop d5 is yeah, he attacks it, and here he could probably go b4. He started with queen d7, which is also annoying. I hadn't seen this move before. This kind of chess blindness you often get, where your piece is covering something, and then you move it, and then it's not covered anymore, and now it's hanging. And it was not really the idea to play f3. Kind of weakens the king, kind of weakens the dark squares. The bishop, it would be nicer to have the bishop here, but okay, it's not a disaster. Still, he should go b4 here, and with some decent counterplay. Bishop e7 is wrong. Rook e5 is a good move. Knight c8 is necessary. I was threatening this move with really serious consequences. Knight d5 is a clear mistake. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's moved 39 and I was down to 4 minutes or something. Still, it's a ridiculous move. Bishop d5, and I decided, okay, the rook is, the knight is definitely wrong here. Here you should definitely play bishop f6. Is clearly the best move. He played bishop f6. Sorry, and I play rook d5. He should not play bishop d6. He should play knight d6, I think. With something like this is much better. Threatening bishop d5 and not at the same time allowing my knight in. Knight rook d5. Here he played a rather big blunder. Queen e6, and this was move 41. Queen e6. And I had it all worked out, so I didn't see that in this exact moment. You should follow Baburin's rule. Always look at anything that takes, any knight moves, and god damn it, checks. So winning the queen, and of course he's got seriously insufficient material. Instead I played knight e4, rather good. It's also winning. I thought, oh, that's easy. I'm threatening rook takes b5. I didn't see there was a check for some weird reason. And he can't move the knight. Yeah, well, I'm just taking the pawn. So he moved the queen and rook d7. So I'm running into him now. He's getting seriously killed on here, and the next piece come, and basically the destination is here unless I can take his knight. He played knight d6. I take the bishop, winning a bishop, serious material ahead, check, and just move the king. I was a little bit afraid that he might be able to do something here, but it's not really serious. And I was calculating if he took on b2, if I can take on d6, if the knight and bishop and king rook can mate him, and they can. You can check it out yourself. Anyway, he took here, and then after this, here he resigned. He could either, well, he's basically losing everything. So something like this is just curtains. So I managed to keep control. I had the advantage the whole way. It was not. It could have been better. It could have been better, but it was not a bad game. I think it's the way I kept the advantage in the beginning was a bit instructive, but then I lost control a little bit, still keeping most of the advantage, but it is tough, and it's one of the the basic skills of chess is to keep an advantage in these kind of situations. Anyway, this was GM Talks. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned something. Thank you.